Good morning and welcome to Weekend Review here on AYV Television on Channel 33. My name is Bokari Matia. Weekend Review takes a look at our major stories during the week and brings together practicing journalists and civil society activists to critically discuss them. Now, in this edition of the program, I have here with me Khadija Jallo, journalist working for Sky. Good morning, Khadija, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
I also have in the studio Victor Tutu Ojasef, civil society activist. Good morning and welcome, Victor.
Thank you very much.
And to you, our viewers, you can be part of the show by sending us your views and comments and contributions via our Facebook page, AYV News. Let's now take the first story. Now, Vice Chairperson of the Human Rights Commission of Sierra Leone, Victor Lansana, has urged the Sierra Leone National Commission on Small Arms to educate the public on the dangers of carrying unlicensed weapons and the processes that people should follow to acquire firearms. He said he made this call during the killing of a senior police personnel in Makeni. Here's the story compiled by Mohamed Lamin Banya and read in our studios by Elizabeth Momo.
The security of the state in any nation is the primary source of existence. In Sierra Leone, their importance cannot be overemphasized, with the country's multi-tier elections fastly approaching. Speaking on the killing of a senior police personnel in Makeni and what the Sierra Leone National Commission on Small Arms should do to sensitize and regulate gun manufacturers in the country, Victor Lansana, Vice Chairperson of the Human Rights Commission of Sierra Leone, said that the Small Arms Commission should institute measures that will give them opportunity to conduct a search to retrieve guns that are in the wrong hands.
We are calling upon them to ensure, by virtue of Section 15, subsection 2, paragraph B of their Act, to ensure that they talk to the public, they educate the public about the dangers of carrying unlicensed weapons, the dangers of carrying unlicensed guns, and what it means for you to own a gun. Which processes, which procedures do you have to go through?
The Sierra Leone National Commission on Small Arms, which is a commission that is charged with the responsibility to regulate and supervise the manufacture, trade, and use of arms and ammunition, says that despite their strides to regulate and supervise the manufacture and use of arms and ammunition in the country, people still
have been coming into Sierra Leone with guns or weapons. Now we call it illegal. You should not come into Sierra Leone with a weapon.
The Commission's commissioner disclosed that they have about 300 people, including manufacturers, that are registered with the Commission, and that in the case of the Makeni killing of a senior police personnel attached to the division, the Commission wants
to know who or what weapon was used in this kind of scene, but the police is in charge of the investigation, and they are way ahead trying to piece out what really happened.
Elizabeth Momo, AYV News, Freetown.
Elizabeth Momo there with the voice and the story done for us by Mohamed Lamin Banya. Victor, let me bring in on this by default. The call for awareness on the use of small arms, and we already have an institution gets to us the licensing and the verification, so to speak, of the possession of small arms, firearms, and the Human Rights Commission calling on the institution there to work and come forward with enough sensitization so that the public can understand and know what it means to possess a small arm or firearm. But I think sometimes early last year I spoke with that very institution, and key amongst the challenges they face is the fact that logistics problem is one. So an institution like that do not have the capacity to go nationwide or to sensitize people, or for people to understand their rights when it comes to possessing firearm. What's your take from civil society points of view?
My strongest view, I always say, about all these informations that do come out at the time when not expected, is the area of education. Education for almost cut across institutions is the lacking area. People don't come forward to, or institutions don't come forward to educate people on issues unless when an event takes place, or an event is about to take place, or a reaction to an event, but not that much proactive, going before the issue to get people educated. When you talk about firearms, Mr. Victor Lansana Esquire, the chairperson, is one type that do bring out some issues to see how best it can be in a proper form. I mean, we can say do late, but that never. I mean, it's better he brought this forward. But around this time, when we talk about firearms, since the time of that, the Palo Conte saga, that was a kind of a message sent home to say that all those that are with illegal weapons, or weapons that are licensed or not licensed, let them have a statistics of that. And let them go all around to see better investigations around those. Because Sierra Leone has gone a rebel war for which, after the disarmament, to date, have been with information around that people are there with still weapons in their houses. I mean, kept. Maybe not gone through the right procedure to see if they are being legal to take these weapons along. So if that is the case, and it came to a time again where for the ones, the hunters that have been firing, I mean, going for bush animals. Yes, again, there was to be a statistics of that again to know who are in some particular location that are of arms, so that if there is any firing in that particular vicinity, they will know who are there that are weapon. And if you allow another person to come into a vicinity and create any mayhem, then you have to face it, because it's like a security of each and every one. I mean, each one save one. So all these things have not been put in place for long. I mean, it's sad to hear that they cannot take a nationwide education on firearms. It's unfortunate, because for every institution, we know that there must be the media sector there to educate people on issues. And if that is so, and fortunately for all institutions, we have community radios almost everywhere in the country. And we have the criminal libel law, for which that one has been kicked off. I mean, to create a platform for the media houses to have institutions like this to go into these places, not to share their educations. Yet it's not still happening. They only come on board when they have issues to talk on, or event that will take place tomorrow or in a week time. This is sad. I mean, you are here for AYV, Khadija is here for Sky Radio. These places are visible for you to go and get people educated there, and other radio stations are there. But how spontaneous, how visible are these institutions to come and hire services from the media stations to get people educated? And when the knowledge is not there, you allow people to assume on assumptions. When they rest on their assumptions without any further education, for you to convince them later will become a challenge. So having had of education by now, I mean, you can recall, if we go back to history, that before this time, when you hear some crises that are around that is not pleasant, you have this door-to-door or house-to-house, either searching or vigilantes around, you know, to just keep the area safe. And we're talking about arms. And these are the people that are responsible for this area. What are the criteria they have created for such people, our information, for informants to get them information about issues surrounding arms? So it's sad to hear this, but if Victor, Lansana Esquire can start pushing this now, we are very close to election. Look at the McKinney incident. We've had other incidents before, and all dealing with arms. Then it's like they need to go back to the table and see how best they can strategize themselves to pursue some of these things, though it's late, but let them still have, with a wider campaign, maybe they can move further.
Khadija, let me bring you in, because recently again, there was an incident in Waterloo involving the discharge of a firearm on an Okada rider. And so this is no hidden secret to say that there are people out there possessing firearms, whether they are Western made or locally made one way or the other. What should be the proactive measure of the Small Arms Commission as recommended here by the Human Rights Commission?
Well, for me, like you said, institutions like the Firearms Commission should be very proactive instead of being reactive, because I'm looking at incidents that have occurred over the years, and now even just recently, it's a call for concern. And that tells you that people need education, and not just people that are going to acquire the firearms, but we know we have thieves. Probably someone might acquire it and then put it in his or her home, and then somebody stole that firearm from him or her. So looking at all of that, there is no way an institution like that would tell me that they don't have enough resource to go around the country to sensitize people. As much as you are collecting money, or as much as you are allowing people from all over to acquire firearms, it only means that you should also be able to go around and sensitize people. And you use the local community radio stations. I don't think if you go now and say we want to have a program that should be ongoing, they will charge you like they charge other people, because they know you are doing it in the interest of the country. And we will not want to see this going on. Now we see thieves having firearms. Where are they getting it from? It's a concern, and this is the matter of life. So looking at all of this, I think they should go back to the drawing board and put some criteria in place, or put some strategies in place to see who can acquire a firearm and who cannot, and then make it strict. Because now that it's just all over and people are using it, it tells you that the institution needs to bring up laws, or needs to bring out regulations that will at least minimize on how people who should get firearm or who should not get a licensed one. And you should also have an account of each and every one in the country that has already acquired a firearm from you. You should have a statistics of that, so that if something happens somewhere, they will be able to trace whoever that firearms, belongs to. But if you don't have all of these things put in place, and Sierra Leone, we've gone through a tragedy in the past, like the 11 years civil war. So we don't want to go back there. There are so many things that you need to learn from the TRC report. And when you learn from those reports, then you will know the way forward. But if people are not learning from the past, then where are we heading for? They will still try to tell you things are not enough, we don't have enough resource, but yet we are seeing resources being given to other institutions. So all you need to do is to put things in place. We don't want to risk it.
All right, I'm continuing to follow the conversation on Facebook, AYV News, and be part of it. Now, in our next story, the chairman of the August 10th Special Investigations Committee, Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi, has told AYV that they invited over 38 persons of interest during the investigation to ascertain some of the allegations against them on their involvement in the violent protests. Safa was reacting to claims from some of those named in the report that they were not given the opportunity to respond to the allegations against them. Our reporter, Sheikh Mohammed Sila, has more.
On Thursday, 13th March 2023, the Special Investigation Committee that was set up on the 24th August 2022 by President Julius Maada Bio to investigate the August 8th, 9th, and 10th protests that claimed the lives of 6 police officers and over 20 civilians presented their report to the President at State House. The chairman for the committee, Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi, said that they officially invited all those who were identified as persons of interest and provided them with the opportunity to respond to the allegations that were made against them.
A lot of people were called to the investigation. There are over 38 people who were invited. Lawrence Lema, as you've heard, we've invited Hinshaw, Mayor Akisoya, Tommy Claudius Cole. We spoke to Cherry Coco, General Bar. We spoke to the SADC Secretary General, Honorable Napoleon Coloma. We spoke to the NGC, the PMDC. We spoke to the Minister of Trade. We spoke to KTD of NATCA. So there are many people, I can't list all of that.
On their findings, Safa said that there are economic challenges, unemployment, and political issues which came out during their engagements with people in the affected areas.
purely divided on political lines and people basically acting based on their political inclinations or leanings. And it talks about the fact that the government and the opposition are not cooperating well. The opposition feels like, particularly the APC, feels like they cannot let the government govern. And then while the government is not reaching out enough to engage and encourage the opposition. Secondly, it talks about the economic situation in the country, the inflation, prices of commodities have gone up. And thirdly, it speaks about youth unemployment in the country. It talks about the telecommunication and regulatory issues where mobile money is not being regulated. People can transfer money without anyone monitoring it, and that was one of the reasons why we were not able to trace the money that was used to finance the August demonstrations. It talked about the security sector. It talked about police brutality and police using excessive force, which led to death of some people. They also talked about the fact that the police are being attacked and being made a target of killings, and they don't have any insurance scheme, and burning police offices and police stations and attacking their homes. It's a bad situation to go by because they provide the necessary security for the state. Otherwise, we will all not be living the decent life that we are living. It talks about many issues, including the international community, who are giving an impression as if they are a government on their own and undermining the authority of the government, which they should not be doing in the state where they work. So there are really quite a number of issues in that.
He added that they have completed their work as a commission and have presented their report, which includes recommendation to President Bio, but however noted that they have also received a letter from Femi Claudius-Cole, one of the persons named in the report.
Claudius-Cole sent a letter that her tweets were taken out of context. There are a couple of other people I don't want to talk about. My duty is done. Our duty is done as a committee. The report was presented to the president, and he has to decide what to do next.
It took the committee, which comprises of different professional bodies like the Sierra Leone Bar Association and the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, 9 months to complete their investigation and present their report to the president on the ugly incident that is now part of the country's history. Sheikh Mohammed Sileh, AYV News, Freetown.
Sheikh Mohammed Sileh there with that report. Victor, what's your take on the story?
Well, we thank God there was a special team to investigate that particular ugly incident that took place on that sad day. And then, but since so many signals, the result is out. I mean, the report is out. Names have been called. Some have been investigated. They have given out their report on them. And you and I had or saw from different angles what took place on that particular day. At times, I mean, we do have matters in court, but you going through the lines of what took place with a rare scene. I mean, even before the court ends, you may be able to judge some of the issues because you know that I saw this and it must come on board. So if not there, then you know that, you know, this particular thing I saw maybe was not investigated, was not brought on board. But before the issue, what really came out on that sad day and to justify the protest of itself, you can see it on the other face of it because talk about economic challenges, yes, it's there. Other issue outlined, but in line with the protest, the act of itself, and then with statements on board before the issue, this always gives stop to most of these protests that do, I mean, come up, I mean, create a kind of stop, because one, a protest that was faceless, with no team to really cheer out the responsibility in case of any mayhem. A protest that was brought, it can be peaceful. At times you leave here, just go down with noise, but if you are together in unity without any other different minds straight to what you want to go to. Even if the police face you, instead they will just guide the process, you go back to your places. But a protest that is coming out with different views, different intentions, that will be at the detriment of so many souls that are even innocent around the issue is sad. And that was what took place on that particular sad day. We are in lives gone. The issue for which the protest was around went above it by far, and the claims made by so many people and later denying it. And then even getting from some political figures with statements uttered even through BBC, which was overheard by the world global, is very sad. So if coming out with this kind of report to the president now, and to see, and if we are even getting another noise around for 27 April, it means, one, people are looking at it to the duration of the investigation, to would have come early so that there will be issues, but it was based on the investigation. Because investigations, at times, the time you need people to come on board to give evidence, the timing, so that prolonged issues at time. But again, with the result that is out now, I think where there are measures to be taken, I think these measures need to be fast, be taken so that it will serve as a precedent or serve as a deterrent for any other further attempt by any other. It's not, Sierra Leone is a place we are coward, but our cowardness counts on what be the example to what takes place. When an issue happens, and there be a delay without any action, and people will take it to be not talking about the talk, nothing other happen, then they will go further to do another action. But when there is a measures put in place for a particular act and there be a prompt action, then that creates fear and send away those that may plan. You know, let there don't be a kind of selective justice or timing delay or anything that is to happen. It does not happen to that time. People count on that to create another mischief. So we want to see wherein, if this particular report is out now, whatever measures that is around it that will serve as a kind of deterrent or punishment for those that perpetrated violence that are clearly investigated and are brought to book, let them be brought immediately and may serve the due process. Else for any delay to cause for another man, then we'll get those involved to do the needful blame. So let them be very proactive in doing things in time, because we are now pre-period now for election, and very soon will be during the election and later after the election. So the pre now must be of a protective guide now to protect all other ugly incidents that may be planned or may want to be to take place. Let them be protected now within this pre-period, so that by getting to the during of the election, we may have, if not 100% sanity, but sanity around the process.
Khadija, the report is out, and as stated there by the chairman of the report, recommendations have been made, and both enclosed to the president and the general executive summary given by the report on the reasons for the protest, bringing out everything as has been the concern from economic and people using that opportunity for political gains, and also names being mentioned there for people who didn't give themselves up to the committee for investigation. He also mentioned that people like Ade Macaulay were invited, and they gave testimonies of what they know, what they understand with the protest, but several people were also invited that didn't turn up. What does that mean going forward? And the report is now with the president, and there are names mentioned for which, as Tutu is saying, if we are to move past what happened during those days leading up to the protest and the day itself, actions need to be taken against those individuals.
Yes, of course. And I am also very happy that the report captured the level in which government have been communicating with its people. I think there is a gap in communication, and the reports captured that one. Even before the August 10, if people can recall, some of us, we are here, and we are talking about government officials not giving information to the people, as people may tend to go the other way around with whatever option is being given to them. And we should not forget that the way politics is now in Sierra Leone, at every given point, politicians want to make use of any situation or want to make use of vulnerable people. You know, Sierra Leoneans, we are gullible, you know, when it comes to how to do things and in the right way. I am not in any support, because no matter what is going on, there is no way you can do something or seek for justice in a violent way. That is not what I am saying. But this report shows that whatever intelligence you get from whoever, no matter how small, you have to make use of it. If not, it's just like when you have people that are disinformation, that are misinforming the people. We have people that do come up with some issues and then play around people's mind, and then try to see how they can join the protest, even though we have people just like what the chairman mentioned, that some people said it's because of the unemployment and because of the economy, but still some other politicians took advantage of that and then joined the protest to do, to achieve their own goals. So this is the more reason why there should not be any communication gap. And for those that we are invited, we will say you will not force somebody to say what he or she does not want to say. So even if they were invited, they might have their own reasons for not going there. But whatever recommendation that is in that report, I prefer the report to come out at this time with enough evidence and enough recommendation, instead of just going and then do 1 or 2 investigations and then come up with a report that is scanty. So if we can have a report like this, being published for over, investigated for over 9 months and then been published now, but at least with enough recommendation, then the government can take it from there. Just like we are saying, there are sometimes you have to be very, very proactive. So if things like this are coming up, then what happens? You don't have to say, okay, let them just say, we are doing our job. No, talk to the people. It is your concern. It is the government's concern. If people are saying, now they are talking about April 27, that people are going to come, what have they done? Government should talk to the people. Whatever information you are getting that people want to stage a peaceful protest or whatever protest because of those, then you have to engage them through the media to see how people can understand. It's about talking to people. Now, we should not forget that the new media is also playing with the emotions of people. There are some things you put on social media, even if it's fake, but the way you put it is like people will start to believe, in this fake or misinformation. So there is a way. You should not leave that a communication gap. The moment you leave it, bad people will intrude. And what happens? We get bad results. And we know what, now we are going into a crucial time, which is the multi-trial election, which is June. Now, how many people are going to sit back and then look forward for them to get a free and fair elections? Every election, the outcome of every election, whether fair and true election, should be on the shoulder of the government. So the government should be responsible for a free and fair elections. So what happens? Let them start to talk to the people. Let them go to communities. Let them engage the media. Talk to the people through the media so that at least people can understand. We still have knowledgeable people, we have educated people. But the moment you go and then some other people just, try to walk around their minds, then things change. So the report, I'm very grateful. I just hope that government will surely, go by the recommendations and see what happens, so that we can have a peaceful nation.
All right, continue to stay with us. The conversations are still up on Facebook. Keep them coming in. But the acting bank governor of the Central Bank of Sierra Leone, Dr. Ibrahim Stevens, has informed journalists of the bank's strides to formally launch the first phase of the National Switch platform on the 29th of April this year. The Switch platform, according to Dr. Stevens, will, among other things, facilitate interconnection between payment channels of various players in the financial sector. Samuel Ibrahim Koroma reports.
The National Switch will go live on the 29th of April, but going live is in stages. What we'll have on the 29th of April is the first phase, which involves the use of ATM and point of sales interoperability. So, for example, if you have a card from a bank that is a member of the switch, you can then use your card in another bank that is also a member of the switch.
The acting bank governor of the Central Bank of Sierra Leone, Dr. Ibrahim Stevens, particularized in the commencement and usability of the soon-to-be-launched national switch on the 29th of April this year. The national switch is a critical national payment infrastructure that aims to ease transaction and move Sierra Leone closer to achieve the objectives of building a cashless economy. But what constitutes this first phase?
Direct transaction between accounts of different banks, for example. Direct transactions between wallets of different money operators. Direct transaction between wallets of different mobile money operators and bank accounts. Settlement of funds for transaction across schemes, between schemes and banks. So for example, when we're fully up and running, you can launch your mobile banking app for Bank A and make payment to Bank B seamlessly without any bother.
This initiative has a long history that could be traced as far back as 2011 through the provision of support from the World Bank to a tune of $12 million in 2019 for a number of activities that ranges from the implementation of the National Financial Literacy and Rural Connectivity Project and the National Switch Implementation Project, which will soon go live. Key beneficiaries to this initiative include commercial banks, microfinance institutions, mobile money operators, and a host of financial technology companies such as fintech. The second phase, Dr. Stevens ad, will come through in about 3 to 6 months after the commencement date.
One phase, which we hope to achieve within 3 to 6 months, is the instant payment interoperability. This is mainly to do with mobile money operators and other fintechs and bank accounts such that customers can make instant payments using any of these facilities from any location. So for mobile money interoperability, for example, the mobile companies are here, I'm advised. For example, with one company, say Orange Money, you can send money to another company, say Afri Money, without going through any circuitous process.
The bank, Dr. Stevens notes, has a responsibility to ensure monetary stability, financial system stability and payment system stability, and coupled with their role to ensure market and financial sector development. The bank's vision at this initial stage is to make the system more sustainable and viable to the public. But the ultimate objective of the bank is to divest and transfer this initiative to the private sector. Samuel Ibrahim Koroma, AYV News, Freetown.
Samuel Ibrahim Koroma there. Now, Khadija, financial services, countries like Nigeria, which is the closest example I'll think of in terms of financial services, such as this is being used, the POS, where you don't even have to go to an ATM bank teller anymore, just like any Afri Money or Orange Money. You can have access to your account via a POS operator. Having that initiative here and seeing how cross-financial institutions can also fast-track easy access to customers' income. The banks and the telecommunications company are already on it, but the switch in those systems is very difficult. For instance, having a switch between your mobile account and a different account in another bank is not really there, except that switch, and that's what the acting bank governor is saying there. How timely is this, looking at the fact that we've been crying for a very long time that we should go digital at some point in terms of our economy or our currency, and reduce the dependence of the physical cash, which has been a problem for the past 9 months now.
Yes, well, we will not say it's not timely, because we are now living in a global village, so surely we should be copying or taking some good initiatives from other countries. And I think this should have been discussed even before this time, because other countries have been doing it, like Kenya, Nigeria, and so. But again, it depends on our network. You know, there are so many times, there are many times when we go to workshops like this, and they will tell you that now when you talk about transferring money or financial inclusion, the mobile companies have been doing well. But when you talk about network, again, the internet, I mean, and then people will start to say, I quote, I prefer Kogona Bank. So we still have problem with the internet. But trust me, if we can have a system like this, like for instance, I will have my Orange SIM card, but I will still be able to operate with any bank where I'm having an account, even though I'm having an Orange, whether they are working with AfriCell or so on, then that would be a very good one. At least that we again see people through on how to be, you know, financially stable. Like you should not be worrying of taking money anywhere else and then thinking of the thieves and all of that. And we have financial inclusion also through that. So I think it's a very good initiative. I'm just wondering, since he was part of the team, you know, before going, before being the acting bank governor, he was part of the team. Why did he wait till now to bring this initiative? Does that mean that they were not saying things with one eye? But it's better to be late than never, I would say.
Victor, let me bring you in on this. In 2017, I spoke with a financial advisor who stated categorically clear that when we go digital, we reduce the dependency of the Brayu Bobode syndrome, because it's only when you have physical cash you are prone to Brayu Bobode on the spot. And it also ensures that taxes are being collected on every transaction made. I mean, if you look at the mobile money transfer from both companies, when you make transfer, when you receive a transfer, there's a percentage from that money going somewhere. And at the end of the day, you can give account of the tax being collected from that particular transaction. And the person was saying if we go digital, it doesn't only benefit us as individuals, but also as a country. Do you think that's where we are heading?
We are very close to a cashless movement. A cashless movement where you can work without physical cash, but when you want to do a transaction, you just go into your phone. I can recall. I mean, let me get an instance of, you have it on your, one of your programs. We are in a lady went with a boyfriend, wanted to pay, boyfriend to pay for her for something, wasting time, another guy from the back, use his phone to pay, and then the dealer just told her, they have paid for you, and turn around to see who paid for her. And that driver away, the lady told the other man from the real boyfriend. But what I want to say, using the phone for a fast movement, I agree with Khadija talking about the internet. That's the frustrating area of the whole process. Wherein you go at times, you wanted the money, they tell you about internet, it all fall, it's short. It is not on, that obstruction at times gets you annoyed and decide to say, well, why not go and take it straight? That's the only that. So they have to improve on the internet. That's one. Then two, there must be so many major players in the process. We are in a country wherein the two giant mobile companies, the Orange and AfriCell, with so many informations around that, they are obstructing or stopping other players to come into the play. In such a kind of thing, there must not be a monopoly over issues. There must be so many players in the game so that you have your choice wherever you want to go. I have my card for the bank I am. At times you go to another bank to transact, only that you have to pay extra tax for that because of the urgency you may be on. But the good thing is, it is available. Once it is available, no problem. So let us have so many players in the game, to be on board, and they work on the network system, and then the tax must not be that much. The employment, so that the last man can be comfortable to be part of the process, because they cannot think of we are in these days where that man are able to pay for that. Then you tax, you get the limit as above the ordinary people, because of you have class of people that are there and you want to live at their expense. When you think of the private schools, because you have ministers that their children are here, or also kind of sector, you make the fees more than what the ordinary man may want to be in line with the same school, but because of the level. So let that be a kind of flat playing ground where everybody will be convenient and comfortable to be part of the process. So let there be more players, let the internet be very much good, and we'll follow the other countries as they are right now, so that we'll be cashless. Babode, we know that I'm coming to talk to my man, but does he have the cash with him now? But they will say again, but Mr. Depa Orange will send a number before.
That is what has been happening anyway. I've been to some places, and somebody will tell you, even though you don't come home for me, I'm not getting money now. So you get around the money, say yes. Send it to my phone. It's as simple as that. There is no way you're going to tell me. You don't have it.
The only language you can hear now, send them.
Victor Fode on Facebook says the switch system is about your bank account. Should be connected to your mobile number for transaction. And John Fella Geba is asking, how do you want the ATM to work when you don't have better electricity system and poor internet connection? Keep those comments coming in on Facebook. You're watching Weekend Review here on AYV Television. I'm your host, Bokari Matia. Let's now go for a short break, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Weekend Review. Let's take some more stories. Now, Parliament has ratified the framework agreement between Sierra Leone and Arise Integrated Industrial Platform with respect to the implementation of a special economic zone in Sierra Leone, which was tabled before Parliament on Wednesday, the 19th of April 2023. While debating the agreement, MPs lauded the agreement, stating that it will create jobs and boost the country's economy. Let's join Joseph Johnson.
The agreement, which seeks to establish a special economic zone in Sierra Leone, is between the government and Arise Integrated Industrial Platforms. While reading the memorandum of the agreement, Trade Minister Dr. Edward Hinga Sandi says the agreement will create job opportunities and boost economic activities in the country.
Special economic zone as well as the revised industry zone. These two policies have seen the establishment of a number of factories based on the provisions in these policies. The IPP that we have gone into with Arise will seek to establish the special economic zone, the very first in Sierra Leone. We've seen how much it has impacted economic growth in other countries like Ivory Coast, countries like Benin and Gabon, where Arise is currently operating. In Gabon, this company has shown the ability to transform timber produced in the Gabon into furniture. And what we're looking at, the main basis for which the economic zone is established or the policy is done, is to look at value addition in the mineral sector through mineral beneficiation, light manufacturing, and for the first time among the companies that are going to operate within the zone is a pharmaceutical factory and also agro-processing. So combined, we're very sure the focus of the special economic zone is targeting Sierra Leone, increasing its productivity in those three areas, and also helping with our import substitution drive while also trying to promote export. We want to believe the jobs that come along with the establishment of this economic zone, particularly noting the number of companies that will be operating within the zone, is going to make significant progress in terms of the unemployment troubles that our youths and women are going through.
While debating the agreement, MPs described it as not controversial.
Let me go on to the agreements. The three agreements, let me start with ARISE Integrated Industrial Platform. This is unique amongst the three, which I want to start with. The creation of an economic zone, which objective is actually to create an integrated approach to economic development, which the government seeks to go into with the ARISE Industrial Platform. You see, one of the things we've been yearning for in this country, Mr. Speaker, remembers, has been our raw materials. We have natural resources, but we've not been able to finish them, our products, into finished products. But with this agreement, when it comes to future, I mean, this country and its people will actually benefit.
We have hope that when you come to this economic zone, you put all the mechanisms in place to ensure that it works, to ensure that it provides employment, to ensure that it's as good as ratified in Gabon and other places in Africa. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
All of the agreement was my advice to the committee, my advice to this parliament and the parliament to come is that we provide thorough oversight.
In the end, the House unanimously ratified the agreement.
Honorable members, the question is that this House ratifies the agreements read out by the Minister of Trade and Industry, which were laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, the 19th of April 2023. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Government motion by the Minister of Trade and Industry has been ratified.
ARISE Integrated Industrial Platform is a company that designs, finances, conceives and operates industrial ecosystems across African countries that has created thousands of jobs for people. Joseph Johnson, AYV News, Freetown.
Parliament there in total agreement of ARISE Integrated Company. Victor, let me bring in on this investment and trade as seen there from Parliament. And as we wrap up parliamentary sessions, contracts between multilateral companies and government being signed and agreed to. What does this mean for, because for a very long time I think the cliche has been when are these companies going to operate? When are they going to be operational? One of such is now ARISE. What would this mean for employment, for youth, and for the country's economy in the next 2 or 3 years?
I can see ARISE project with parliamentarians singing on the same page. Mm-hmm. Singing on the same page because it's like they've seen what is ahead. And we had a feasibility studies on the program. We are in Sierra Leone's few media. We are there to get a kind of studies around the process. And I came back home, everybody was chanting praises as what they saw. And if that happens to be here, we be of another step in the direction we are in, would be to more the young people. And if this can happen, once it can create more jobs, and at the end of the day, even what we are seeing here, we are discussing about the August 10 or whatsoever, talking about economic challenges. I think this will ease most of the issues are playing around. And we really want to see how fast that will be, because the timeline again. I mean, looking at their examples from other countries, if we cascade that to be replicable in Sierra Leone, then I think from now on, based on when they will start, towards the ending of the year, by next year, I think that we create a kind of solution to most of the problems or challenges we are facing economically. I think this is one of the areas, the Trade Ministry want to make mark. Because one of the areas about the Trade Ministry that has not been going down well is that the Trade Ministry, when we look at the amount of challenges happening right now, two sectors that if they are together and they work, will see things ease, they will not be to this kind of level, is the Trade Ministry and the transport sector. Because when you look at all these goods that move from one place to another, what the dealer or seller or trader will tell you is the transport what I pay from here to here, then the goods what I buy, those two sectors, if they can see eye to eye, be on a one page, sing on the same page, they will not see things like this. But that's the area of the gap that has been created far too long, that is getting us on this challenge in the economic area. The country is trying, the government is trying, because it is global. The economic challenge is global right now. We have gone to a step where it's better off. But in our society, with our views around our business, I think we can do more, going extra mile to get the ministry more involved. Where are the trade monitors? How best are they working? How best are rapidly the increment in items or the prices? It was too high, and now let me give you an information. The flour. It came to a time there was nothing like bread around, and now the flour is enough around. The price should go down to how it has been. The traders do not want to go down there, because Sierra Leone has that kind of culture. Immediately when something goes up, for it to come down back to where it was, become a challenge. So we want to see Trade Ministry this time around to be very much proactive, to see that prices that have come down to where it has been before, those that are selling the petty cash or whatsoever, let them go back, let them have a reverse to where the prices are, than to leave it there and they allow the price to. This all add to the fluctuation or the increment in the dollar taxation. So we want to see how best the Trade Ministry arises to come, but while they are on their way to come and be on business proper, let the Trade Ministry come back and do their assignment home to see that back to the table what structures they will put in place so that when the arise come, it will fit into the system and will not be above the expectation of the people. So let them come back, do their assignment quickly, drop down, do things that can be to the comfort of the masses, so that at the end of the day, when this arise come, their business sectors will play around kind of a leverage or level for which we expect them, so that things will not be above, like coming to make gains or exploit Sierra Leoneans instead of coming to do more to envisage what we're expecting, like jobs and other things.
All right, Khadija, what's your take on this quickly?
Yes, since we don't have much time and we've been talking about the allies issue even before this time, all I would say is that for a country to develop, there must be competition. So we are having other industries that are also like the Kino mining. They are also operating here. So if we can have another big one that is coming, I think if that competition is there, just like the QCell, AfriCell, and Orange, there was a time people used to buy a SIM card at 100,000 leones. But when AfriCell came in, then we realized that somebody can get a SIM card for only 1 leones or 2 leones. Okay. So that tells you that when one company is working, the company will seem to relax. But when you have competition in whatever they are doing in the country, then you see that kind of high level of giving out to the people as per what they promised the people. So we just hope again for our leaders not to include that much, because when you have too much of, I don't have evidence to make it clear, I'm just saying that we don't expect them to just bring in company and then you have your own shares in the company. That would be more pressure on the company, because you going there having your shares around, it will also limit them on how to carry out their responsibility, you know, their corporate responsibility. So we don't want to see things like that. Like Tutu said, the trade industry needs to do more. And I'm very happy. I will also factor in the issue of the bank transaction. So looking at all of that, if you have an opportunity to be transacting money from one account to another through mobile money, then even drivers cannot collect different prices going to up-country or so. So you just, the prices are there. Like when you go to, just quick one, when you go to Kenya, when you want to go to the airport, you just log in, they have their app, you call for a taxi, all the prices are there, same price. You pay which taxi you want, you call for them as per distance. So if we can have that, I think things will surely be stable.
So Okada will be stable.
Thank you very much. This is where we end this segment of Weekend Review. Thank you very much to you, Victor and Khadija, for the honoring our invitation, and to our lovely guests also for being part of the program. A repeat of the show will come up tomorrow at 9 a.m. And many thanks to my producer, Ronald Joe Morovia, and the rest of the technical team. I've been your host, Bokari Matia, and until we meet next week, do have a nice weekend.